Thank you. Uh, uh, Hello, everyone. It is quite a day for us as Paytm and all of us as app developers. I'm sure most of us have a clue what is going on in India and not just India, but across the world. The app developers are effectively dependent on a very giant monopoly, namely Google, and and Google has started to play like a toll collector instead of trying to enable the ecosystem only. And well, if I believe that their intention has been clear in actions, so I can say that everything that you distribute on Google App Store ends up start becoming something that people will be charged for, and that's something very concerning for every kind of service provider, my friend. And every kind of service provider stands for whether you are a small app developer or you are a, let's say, you're a school teacher and then you build up an app or tuition application where you sort of build a service that you can give tuitions to people. Now, 30% of that will obligatorily be going to the Google. So take next thing. If you are going to, let's say, an yoga teacher, you are giving an instruction on some content, you're teaching music, or forget about teaching music, you're consuming music. Think about it as a user, that if app developers were charged 30% more, classic, the customer's cost will increase, my friend. Most of the consumers in India who are affected by pandemic now are being welcomed by this rude shock that you would pay 30% for your digital toll. What is not included in this is only physical goods. I mean, I'm sure you would have seen the policy and bill payments. They have to specify bill payment. That's a sad part. But if you're selling anything digital, you're selling content, you're selling cloud service, you're selling, let's say, there are so many apps that have come as Dukan, Create a Shop, or Khata Book kind of apps, which give the ledger. All these kind of services, effectively, if they charge the customer ever for any upgrade, any additional service, they all will be going and making it into a app store toll of 30% to one company will take 30% of everyone. It is not our government, guys. It is not our government. This 30% absolutely goes out of this country. If you read today's morning newspaper, it was very interesting to say that there was an equalization levy of 2%. Imagine all the money that this country spends on Android App Store, which is Android and App Store, but effectively, this is what 95% of customers in this country do. Going not even staying in this country. If we had it, we could have created jobs, we could have created people who would do something in this country. But okay, everything goes out. So we at Paytm thought about it, that what can we do to it? What can we contribute to it? What can we bring something as a resource to every one of you in this ecosystem? And one thing that we learned was that what we can do is what we have, we share with each one of you. We share with every developer, small or large, competing or non-competing, Indian, indie or big. That is what it is. So today, I'm very happy to announce that we have formally welcomed the number of developers on our mini app ecosystem to our store. Well, some of you have been seeing it actually on our Android app that we are toggling these mini app features. And the idea is that these mini app features on the Android that are toggled are because we wanted to experiment and see whether the app stores will block us or not. Actually, if you notice, it is not there on iOS yet, very visibly, because we are still building our APIs and abilities in a way that it can work out. In this case of Android, we said, I think the beta run time has come to become a mainstream product. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all for welcoming a new commitment from Paytm side to the Indian startup ecosystem, the Paytm mini app stores. I see this. Obviously, it's very tricky, tacky that you're getting to see it on a Zoom, but we all know that these are the days of Zoom. So our developer team worked very, very hard to bring it all together. So I first of all applaud the team that quickly turned it around from a beta to a mainstream. Obviously, many other functionalities of the mini app store ecosystem are still in progress, and we've created bridges for operating system. These bridges allow you to nearly handle as many things that OS allows to your app. And the best thing I can tell you is this app is actually a web product, which means it is not using any specific extra layer of any extra API that we are consuming those APIs to show you the APIs, nothing. We literally bring you those OS abilities. So, and then you can build it as native as your product want to make it. In fact, the reason we call it mini app is not because that it is a small functionality, but because the giant binary becomes a very mini for the consumer. It doesn't even take the space unless you start caching the client, which is what your choice is. So literally, this will also mean distributions of mini apps can become on those devices possible, where consumers are consuming the device storage for photos, videos, or their own usage. So it is even more interesting when you get to see that. Number two, some of us were wondering whether it is a legitimate replacement for distribution from let's say, and Google Play Store or not. Today, I want to bring a feature which we quickly will turn it around on our mini app. That when you have a mini app entry, you would see a icon on the top right to save to your phone. So I will show this feature to the people here now. Uh, Okay, I can't share the screen because some restrictions, because we are in a broadcast mode. So I can't share in a screen, but I'm sure. Am I spotlighted in this presentation? The host, can I just confirm? If I'm spotlighted, I will be able to. Yeah, please. Thank you so much. That helps everyone, because I'm going to show you something. Let's say this is the mini app that you are in an app. Now, on the top right, we will put a star or download icon that this creates this mini app binary on your link on your homepage. So next time when the customer comes, the customer can click this app, customer can click your shortcut and directly go to your mini app. So effectively, it does not require next time customers to use Paytm app at all. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, this shortcut here, so we will give a download icon, download this on your phone. When you tap it, it brings a homepage icon of what feature that you want. And next time, when you tap on that, for example, like Nikki Asia, if you notice here, is actually that mini app. It is a URL, but it is a URL because this is saved from a browser. If it was from an app, it would have been full screen like an app, my friend, isn't it? And then what you have is full direct customer relationship here. We just act like a rocket launcher for your satellite. So our satellite of Paytm app takes that. It is PWA. You guys are saying PWA. It is progressive web app. You can make whatever you want to make it out of it. You can use your own JavaScript front end ability of technology that you're comfortable. Yeah, that's right. You can pick up anything. Is it PWA? Yes, you can make it as PWA. So effectively, just like in an app browser, you give for a bookmark and save it on the screen, we actually in the mini app will give an icon, download it on your homepage. That allows app developers to, for good, forget about going through somebody else's kingdom or roads. You know what I'm trying to say? When you arrive at a airport and then you are forced to walk through a shopping aisle, nahin, koi zarurat nahi hai. You don't need to. And I also want to tell you one of the most important feature, which is the charging, the payments that you do, the payments that you give to the developer, the consumer to the developer. I'm sure all of us feel happy about that. We're getting distribution, we're getting marketing, we're getting broadcast. Totally fine. Imagine the payment gateway company takes so less amount of fees from a developer or a website maker, and there, just because you are controlling the toll gate, you can say anything in your mall 30% to me, anything in your app 30% to me. That is not the business that we guys are in. I mean, they don't offer customer care to your customer, do they? If they take 30%, they should at least offer customer care interface to themselves, right? No, 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 no. You go to the customer developer store or to the developer store. So here it is. Our payment option will be the most incredible payment option ever built in this country, and that is called 0%. Remember that you get 0% to the merchant, and that revolutionized offline stores to start accepting payment. So, ladies and gentlemen, I announced today that 0% payment will be not only for developers, but also for every offline store. 0% any amount. I repeat it. In offline, because you know this, that we pay the fees when you add money to the Paytm wallet, right? We pay the e-commerce MDRs, and we have a billions of dollars that get added to the wallet. So literally, even if at a 1%, you know what large money we end up paying every month to different your issuing banks that give this money. Today, we are announcing that every offline store and every app developer will pay 0%, absolutely 0%, when you are using Paytm mini app system for wallet. And obviously for UPI, 0%. Obviously for RuPay, 0%, because that is guided by the government rule. So we will not add any processing layer charges in an exotic way or manner on a payment when your customers are paying through making the payments through UPI, wallet, debit cards of RuPay. Obviously, Master, Visa, and credit cards, we pay the fee forward to the banks. That is why we put up a 2% across all payment options out there. So how does it feel like? I can see the messages and responses coming from you guys. I think I love that you guys are so much excited in this call, and I can see. I mean, I just don't even know how do I reply what you guys are talking about it in this. So somebody says, "Oh, it is a website." No, this is a PWA. If you are a techie, you will understand what is a PWA or a mini app or a native. You build native apps. In fact, I'm sure you know this, that there are JS now frameworks that allow you to build once and deploy it on multiple operating systems. Well, that is exactly what it is. Now, the second question that people ask us, whether we are going to take data within your app or we to use the data within your app. You can use Flutter if you want to use, by the way, guys. I can see that some of you are typing Flutter. Now, in your mini app, you use data of any tracking engine. You don't give the data to us. You're not using our logged in tracker. So effectively, all the customer funnel, all the customer data is yours, and it does not even come to us. How's that? Somebody is writing AdSense. I don't want Google SDKs in this case. Google and Android and Facebook SDKs concern us. So that's why I'm trying to say that we would probably not bring an AdSense SDK inside it. That at the same point in time, data of your customers belong to you. You can choose to give what you want to give to the someone. I'm not even going to restrict it, right? And similarly, in this case, the idea is that you get your own customer, your downloaded mini app on the customer's homepage or device payment options which charge you 0%. And actually, I can tell you that wallet becoming 0%, because when we run the beta of we were running, as you know, certain number of mini apps on our app, we found out 80% people were paying using wallet and 20% were using UPI payment options. So we figured out that if we want to make it 0%, we have to make 0%. So here it is, that 0% payments completed in that. Uh, Thank you, Life Care app. You are in this call. You've said it, and I've read it so that you do not, My Life Care, do not require you to type it again and again. I love this. International payments, we don't support international payment because we believe that, well, international payment open up to a new kind of fraud altogether. And as Indian credit cards and debit cards are the ones that we are primarily doing it. I will do a Q&A also on this. Is there a developer account fee? Surprise! There is none. This is a limited time of offer that we are doing right now, that you guys will be able to use. Uh, uh, you guys will be able to use an account that we are doing on this platform absolutely without requiring any 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 payment. I repeat it. If your app does not require any payment to be integrated, welcome, distribute it on our app. For example, like let's say you may have a astrology notifications, news notifications, videos, TikTok like of apps that we are talking about it. Absolutely, welcome to the jungle. We have an ambition, guys. Each one of you have you participate. Each one of have to participate, and we will bring 1 million app before Google opens its charging obligation on each Indian developer. The ambition is 1 million apps to the system that will be done before Google brings any charging to Indian developers in this country. If we can, oh, you're saying 2020, I'm giving you first quarter of 2021. Thank you so much. 1 million app is our target. There are 1 million apps. There will be a network effect kick in, the impulse of customers will start to browse and so on. I wanted to show you something even more interesting. That is that we will place mini apps on our app homepage. We will place mini apps on our homepage. Yes, you are hearing it correct. I'm going to show you the screen. I'm going to show you the screen that this is our homepage that is going to be deployed in Android. This is a PDF so that you this. And in this, we will have a mini program as a homepage discovery, guys. We will give you real estate at homepage because your app deserves this traffic from us as featured traffic at homepage of Paytm traffic. You could build any app here. I repeat, you could build any app. You could build an app for stores, shopkeepers. For example, like there are so many people who are trying to create contactless ordering apps for shopkeepers, right? So let's say I'm showing Starbucks here and Fresh Menu and McDonald's. The intention here is to show that let's say you go to a coffee shop, you know, Bucks coffee, or there is Big Chill in Delhi. You created a mini app for them. Or imagine a normal shop, you know, Chole Bhature shop. You can create their mini app and it'll show up here. And we will create this as a nearby location, relevancy, etc., to show the app. And obviously, see all will allow every other app to be searched and discovered. Obviously, these will be searched and discovered. So, well, those who are looking for developer console and how to publish the app, I have incredible good news that in few minutes you would try to uh, try to take the steps how to develop mini app in few minutes. But before that, I wanted to give you a huge announcement, and I wanted to give you a next level. Imagine what could be do that here. And that announcement relates to each of the app developers, each of mini app developer, each of you, the developer who will sign up. And this is commercial announcement. So I want you to listen to the how the mini app ecosystem works. And then there is a very important commercial announcement that would be for you to gain. I repeat, for you to gain. And that is what once my team, Shreyas and team offers you, how will we log into this mini app stores. A lot of you have raised your hand, and I would love to ask those questions, answers. I would answer those answers, but we would continue this event with the next step where you get to learn what is in mini app, what do you people as people get it, and what do you people do it. A lot of people are asking one more question, that will it have real money app? Answer is maybe not. Reason that Google can block any app. I do not want you to do something that violates at least the policy that Google is deploying. We don't know how to deploy the policy. Actually, that's what our problem is. This is a independent app, right? We believe that, but no, maybe not. And we are going to be conscious about that because Google has threatened openly to us that if you do more violation, we can stop your Play Store account, and they can suspend Play Store account. I wish that we don't reach that milestone. So we will keep them away for now. We will learn what happens and how Google improve various of its policies. This is about distribution and payments, which is what we are offering. And like I said, you can build in a your favorite JavaScript interface, and then that means you have as native as PWA, as native as Flutter, as native as whatever you want, and that will bring the app to the customer's homepage. Yeah, and that means that we will bring you we will bring you all number of mini apps to the consumers and remove Google from Play Store. Like this. Some of you are perfect for marketing, growth marketing. I can say that. I mean, you guys are Indian entrepreneurs and Indian app developers are simply irresistibly non-controlling to the cell's abilities, energies, and this one is where we allow you to route energies to. You can build as many apps. This is not a limitation that you want to build one app or 10 app or 100 apps. Please welcome to upload 100 apps, and this is an opportunity for all of us to build an app ecosystem that is running in controlled by Indian app developers like you and me, instead of controlled by somebody else's on the way that when we talk to a consumer. So connect to the consumer and the payment from the consumer coming directly to you. Obviously, rocket launcher role that we are the rocket launcher. We'll take your satellite and bring it where the customer is. I hope you like it. Thank you so much. With my teammate shares in this call, I would want him to now publicly show the opportunity of how to build mini apps for Paytm mini app store, which allows you to distribute the mini app directly to the consumers and you to have direct relationship with the consumer. And after that, like I told you, I'm going to bring the important announcement just after Shreyas has given those details. Yeah, over to you, Shreyas. You can be spotlight now.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
spot.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone. My name is Shreyas. I work in the Paytm mini app team, and today is a really exciting day for us. We've been working very hard to make sure the mini app platform is available to all developers across India, and we can genuinely democratize again building apps and publishing it. India's on a cusp of a massive digital revolution. I've been a developer for 15 years. And I have seen us grow from a country with a few millions of really talented developers. And I think we are still at the beginning of it. And we hope that today the Paytm mini app store compounds that and brings in millions of more developers to come and participate in this. To start with, I want to talk about the digital products which we build in India and what are their challenges. All of you are engineers, are product people who build digital products. Today, when you build a digital product, you literally have three things you need to take care of. You need to figure out how to build it, whether you build it as a web app, whether you build it as a native app. You need to figure out how to get it discovered. Once you build it, how do people know about it? And then once people know about it, how do you grow your business? Right? Today, when we talk about the Paytm mini app store, we're going to try and answer every one of this point. Right? So let's start with build. You're a developer, you first need to make a decision. Do I need to build a web app? Do I need to build a native app? Each one of them has different advantages and disadvantages. So let's start with web apps. The disadvantages with web app is that it's really hard to really integrate with some of the features your amazing phone has. Whether it's geolocation, camera filters, it does not lend itself to great integration with such native features. Second, you build a web app, it's not available offline. It's not available when network does not exist. And a lot of India still wants to use your app when there's no network. So web apps have disadvantages when it comes to features like this. On the other hand, native apps have a completely different set of disadvantages. The first thing is you need to learn multiple languages. You need to know Swift, you need to know JavaScript, you need to know Android, you need to know Java, you need to know multiple different code bases. And hence you need to develop in multiple different code bases. Then once you build an app, you need to upload it somewhere. They have a release cycle. It takes 7 days. You figure out a bug. You go back and change it. It takes forever. Any one of us who's built it you know this process is super painful. These are the kind of things which make me stay awake at night. It's like, oh my God, what's happening? The second thing is it's really costly to develop and maintain a native app. You need multiple developer teams. You need to constantly QA different versions. It costs a lot of money and time to make sure your native app is well developed and maintained. Right? So clearly web apps have some advantages and disadvantages. Native apps have some advantages and disadvantages. Now let's talk about discovery. You build this great app. It's something you're super passionate about. How do users find it? As soon as you start to figure out how users find it, you hear a bunch of jargon. ASO, SEM, SEO. People start telling you all of these things, and you just suddenly realize as a developer, you now need to understand what SEO is, what SEM is, what ASO is. Second, once you understand some of this, you then realize, oh, I have to advertise to get my app downloaded. So the user acquisition cost for your app is very high. Moreover, most users just install it and uninstall it the very next day. So the cost of acquiring users and the cost of learning how to acquire users is very high. Second, you can only promote most of these apps online, right? If you want to promote this offline, there's no great channels to do it. And even if you figure out how to do 1-2 touch points, it's really hard to scale it out. And lastly, as a young developer, as a developer whose brand is yet to be trusted by users, it takes a lot of effort to get your brand to be in a place where users trust you. Users trust you with payment, users trust you with payment instruments, and users trust you to deliver on the product premise, right? And the last thing we want to talk about is growth. Once you have discovery, how do you grow your user base? And again, you have to learn a lot of new things now, right? You have to learn about segment funnels, you have to learn about sign-up friction, payment friction. Then you need to learn all these CLM tools, right? CLM stands for Customer Lifecycle Management. I'm sure all of you know. You need to understand what tools to use, where to use, how to send push notifications to user. So it becomes super difficult to grow your business. So a lot of developers, when they get into it, they're dealing with a lot of different problems before they make a success out of their digital. And if India has to be a powerhouse, we need millions of developers who build millions of amazing apps with millions of users, right? And that's where we are trying to make a difference today. Next slide, please. So Vijay talked about it. I'm going to summarize it again. What are Paytm mini apps? Paytm mini apps are bring the best of native technologies and web app features together. You can continue to build in technologies you love. We have built it completely on open source technology, HTML5, JavaScript, and progressive web apps. But then you can sort of on top of them add this amazing native features, right? So that your app seems seamless, whether it's a web app or not. These are easy to build and maintain. My colleague Nihar is going to show you down the presentation how easy it is to make your existing website into a mini app. It takes less than a couple of hours. And most importantly, we are giving you a place on the rocket ship. You get access to 150 million monthly active users for your app at 0 rupees of additional cost. You get featured on this rocket ship called the Paytm app, where users will discover it and use your app. And we give you all the tools to make sure you can succeed. What is a mini app? I summarize again. It's your web app, but it's supercharged, right? That's what I'm bring to you today. Next slide, please. So if you want to understand what are the key value propositions of a mini app, right? I'll quickly run through them. You don't need a download. This mini app is available as soon as you want it as a user. On the Paytm app, we're giving 20 plus entry points. You can search for your mini app in Paytm search. It's featured in the App Store. There are various different touch points in the Paytm app where your app can be discovered and used. Vijay spoke about the amazing home screen shortcut. Any user who discovers your mini app on the Paytm app can click a button and pin it on his Android home screen, and then he can use your app directly. The last thing I want to talk about, a lot of you might not know, the most popular QR code scanning app in India is, well, Paytm. People use Paytm to scan QR code all the time. You can now connect your mini apps to QR code scanning functionality. So you can just say, this is my QR code format, and this is the mini app I need to connect with. And anyone who scans the QR code, we trigger your mini app. So your mini app can be triggered from your store, in front of your restaurant, in front of any place where you have traffic coming in. We also bring in the really strong Paytm ecosystem, right? Paytm drives 700 million monthly transactions. So the payment module which drives that is something available to every mini app developer. We have over time have had 600 million registered Paytm users across India. So when we talk to a lot of partners, they love that we are not just giving them the top 3 cities. We are giving them users across India. Every small city, every small town has Paytm users, and your mini app can reach them now. And then better ROI. Who does not like spending less money? We have significantly reduced development cost and time. Your cost of user acquisition, we talked about it, like is practically nothing because we're giving you a place on the rocket ship. No fixed cost to create and launch an app, no $99 a year, no developer account. It's completely free for you to create, and 0% PG charges on UPI and wallet. So if you look at it, we give you the instant access plus leverages the entire Paytm ecosystem plus better ROI. Mini apps is a great, great avenue for you to create apps. Next slide. So I also want to talk about some of the popular use cases where mini apps excel. While mini apps can traditionally replace everything a native app does, they also open up interesting slivers of user behavior which you can target as a mini app, right? So one of the success points we've seen is around quick interactions. Right? You're at a mall. You enter the mall. There is a QR code to reserve parking spot. Now scan the QR code. You have to download an app. Once you download an app, you have to log in into the app, or it opens a browser where you have to sign up an account. You have to wait for OTP. Mini apps are great for quick interactions. Just scan the QR code for the parking spot in your Paytm app. It opens your mini app. You can pay for parking in under 20 seconds, and you're done. Food-based ordering. You're standing in front of a restaurant. They have a great QR code. You want to scan it, but they don't know your address. You have to enter your address. All of that is gone. We know your addresses which are saved in the Paytm app. We expose that to the mini app so that your ability to order that from a QR code becomes really, really trivial. There's also a whole number of apps which are built once, but people use them very, very infrequently, like GST filing or tax filing. You use it once a year, but there's some really good apps built for it. But the problem is to distribute that app. You have to spend a lot of money. And you have to make sure people know that app and remember it even when tax filing is not happening. Mini apps are a great way to build apps which are for targeted and infrequent use cases because the cost of building them is very reduced. And then you use our distribution to target them at the right time. The same is true for airline check-in. Every time I fly an airline, I have to remember to go to their website. I have to remember my name. I have to remember my PAN number, whatever. We will autofill all of that for you. So you can literally enter the airline check-in mini app and be done with check-in in no time. Mini apps are also great for slivers of complicated application. You have a really large application with 30, 40 different use cases. But new users find these use cases very complicated. They come to your app, they get lost. Oh, like there's so much I can do here. Mini apps are great for you to simplify onboarding for new users. Say you're a stockbroking app. Instead of building an app which does stock picking, which does price tracking, which does auto sale, maybe you can just build a sliver of that functionality as a mini app so that people understand your brand, start using a simple use case, and then just unlock additional behavior as they go along. You can publish multiple mini apps. You can just extend the same mini app. There's a lot of flexibility here. The same thing with education. You want to target people with K-12, you just show K-12 classes, and then you open up IIT and JEE. So mini apps are great for not just existing use cases, but reimagining a lot of use cases we have. And this allows us to build a lot more apps than currently is available on the various app stores in India. Next slide, please. I now want to introduce Prince Jain, who's the product manager at the Paytm Mini Apps team, so that he can talk about the platform capabilities of Mini Apps. So Prince, over to you.
Thank you, Shreyas. So by now, we have discussed what are some of the key issues digital products in India face. So I'm really excited to tell you more about how we plan to solve these. One of the main philosophy with regards to the Mini App Store for us has been trying to figure out how we at Paytm can do all the heavy lifting so that developers like yourself can focus on creating beautiful experiences for your users and leverage our powerful tools to help you grow your business. So let me just start by covering the uh, few code flows. So one of the key friction areas for users to try out new apps is the login process, where you have to get them to sign into your app and then possibly ask them to remember all the login details. The users need to sort of enter the personal details. You need to possibly do an OTP validation and then also handle for cases of fraud. This is a major hindrance when it comes to users trying out new apps. So in Paytm mini apps, we have taken care of just that. What we have built in a login flow is a seamless one-click account creation for your new users. So whenever you want a new user to sign up or log in into your mini app, you can just call a login APIs to fetch user details. So that it happens by we show a user a one-time consent pop-up asking for the user's permission to share the required details with you. And once the user allows us to do that, we share OTP verified user details with you in a secure manner, and which you can use to enable seamless login integrations for you. And oh, by the way, this is just a one-time thing. For returning users, the flow is even seamless. Without any friction, you can access these details and users can seamlessly log in into your app and continue with the flows. This is one of the key benefits you leverage by being in the Paytm ecosystem. And what this enables is that users start trying out significantly more apps than they would have otherwise. So one of the key insights we drew during our initial beta program was that uh, was that we were able to give our partners a much richer assortment of user base. More than 50% of our users who went into those mini programs in some of our most popular mini apps were new users. So essentially, we were able to help large digital players in the country acquire and retain new users. So now we have talked about how we have solved for the friction to download and for the friction to log in or sign up. Let me tell you more about how we are solving the same for payments. Yeah. So one of the key friction areas when it comes to payments is asking for users to configure and save their payment details. In a trust deficit nation like ours, most users are simply not comfortable sharing these. So what we have built for mini apps is a state-of-the-art payments flow, leveraging our deep capabilities in the payment space. The flow in Paytm mini apps is a really frictionless process for the end user. It's powered using the native checkout flow. And what's great is that users don't even need to exit your mini app to make payments for your apps. Users also do not need to share any card details or payment details with you, and you can still collect payments from your users through all possible payment instruments. So we support payments through UPI, net banking, credit card, debit card, Paytm wallet, and Paytm postpaid as well. And with possibly one of the lowest payment charges which are out there. We also support complex use cases such as pre-authorized payments, which are ideal for use cases such as a car or bike rental or a ride-hailing business, and recurring payment use cases such as subscriptions and membership payments. And one last thing when it comes to payments, every mini app merchant gets access to our state-of-the-art Paytm's payment dashboard, which we have been perfecting over the last many years, supporting our 15 million strong merchants, which has powerful tools for you to track and manage your payments. So now that we have talked about some of the key friction areas for the users, allow me to discuss how we plan to help you grow your businesses leveraging our in-house tools and capabilities. So coming on board as a mini app partner, you get instant access to our state-of-the-art promotion engine. You get capabilities to run complex marketing campaigns and interact and incentivize your user. So to promote your mini app, you can run discounts, cashbacks, scratch cards, promo codes, deals, vouchers, Paytm stickers, just about anything you can think of. All the marketing tools which we use internally, you get access to almost all of them to help you grow your business. So now that we have talked about all these incredible tools we have to help you grow your business, let's now see how users can discover your apps. So we understand that mini apps would serve a variety of businesses with specific needs of user discovery for each of them. And we have built our solutions to cater to just that. We currently have more than 20 discovery points through which users can access your mini apps. And we are constantly adding new entry points every day. So let us see how different businesses can reach their users. So let's say if you are a content app, you would need to send your users timely push updates for, let's say, the top stories or highlights of the day. As a matter of fact, almost 80% of app opens for a few large content apps happens through push notification. So in mini apps, we enable you to send push notifications to your users to engage with them. Now, let's say if you're a restaurant owner and you want your mini apps to be discovered by physical QRs, we do have support for just that. Oh, by the way, the QR you're seeing on the right is an actual one. So we have Starbucks currently live with us as a mini app partner. So the next time you visit Starbucks, just try scanning the QR using Paytm app and try ordering via the Starbucks mini app. Let me tell you, the flow is a really sleek one. One other key discovery point which Vijay also mentioned is the capability to add home screen shortcuts to your mini app. So those of you who have Android phone handy right now, you can just try visiting our mini app store and long pressing on the trending section. You'll be shown a pop-up where you could sort of just add home screen shortcut for your app. So what this enables is a seamless native-like app discovery for your end user. Now they don't even have to open Paytm app and search your mini app. Users can simply tap on your app's shortcut on their home screen and avail your services. Let us now see how an actual user flow leveraging all the key capabilities we have discussed so far looks like. So what we are showing is a Domino's mini app, which is one of our key beta partners. So as you could see, user searched the Domino's app using Paytm's global search. He immediately is landed to Domino's app. He's shown the consent pop-up. As soon as he allows, he's seamlessly logged in. He then selects the delivery address. Once he's done with the delivery address, he just adds items to the cart and he clicks on proceed to order or place order. As soon as he taps on place order, seamlessly he's landed to Paytm's native app. He does the payment, he checks out, and that's it. The payment is done. Now, let's say Domino's wants to send order related updates for the user. So they can just do that with using the in-app notification, and users can seamlessly track the orders using the notification system for Paytm. And really, it's that easy. What we also have in store for you is we are also launching Paytm mini apps in our Paytm for Business app. So one of the key proposition is the same code base works on both apps. So for all the developers out there who have developed their mini app for the Paytm app, and if you feel your use cases are relevant, you can directly port your app, the same code base, the same app, in a single click to your Paytm for Business app as well. Just for the facts, Paytm for Business is used by 15 million strong merchants, used by a 15 million strong merchant networks, and for businesses which have valid B2B use cases, I think this is the well-suited entry point. So yeah, it's coming soon. You can, for those of you who are interested, you can reach out to us for early access. So let me now hand over to Nihar, who can discuss how easy it's really to create our own mini app.
Right. Thank you so much, Prince. Good afternoon, everyone. I think this is the really fun part for all the developers on call today. Really glad that all of you could join us. At Paytm, there's an incredibly experienced and a really deep technology team that spends a lot of time thinking about how to solve a lot of problems that Indians face, how to solve a lot of problems that digital India faces. And there's something that we know personally as developers. As developers, we have incredible ambition. We want to build something that is, we have this amazing idea. We want to build something that is in the hands of end users. And it is something that makes us feel like we've moved the needle and we've changed the world. And then we actually start the process of building an app. And when we start the process of building an app, we run into all the boring bits that we hate. The boring bits around figuring out how to do sign-in, the boring bits around how to figure out security, the boring bits around how to figure out payments, and all of these different things that exist. So we've spent a lot of effort at Paytm within our technology teams to make sure that we focus a lot on the kind of developer experience that you can have and really try to make that as simple, seamless, and painless for all of you. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, as developers, we like being lazy for all the right reasons, and we want to spend all our hard energy on the problems that really matter to us, which is building the core part of our apps, the core part of our products, and not worrying about how to build an OTP retry system. So how do you get started with creating your own mini app? There's essentially a few basic simple steps to do this. The first, most important thing to realize is that you start with your existing web app. You can build your own one, but if you already have an existing web app, no matter what framework it's written in, it could be a backend driven web app, it could be a single page app, it could be based on .NET, it could be based on WordPress, it could be based on Magento, it could be based on Java, Spring, you name it, we'll make sure that it works as a mini app. As long as it outputs HTML, as long as it has JavaScript and CSS, we can package it up, and with just a few small changes, you can run it in the Paytm app. So this opens up the playground for the kind of experiences you can build with mini apps to every single developer out there in India, no matter what their technological expertise, as long as you can work on the web. And the web is such a vast playground with so many different technologies, and all of you are welcome. How do you get started with this? The three basic simple steps that you need to do to take your mini app and to take your web app and convert that into a mini app is, first, you need to detect that you're running in the Paytm mini app container. You need to do this so that you understand how to tailor your user experience, how to change your code slightly, because there are some mini app SDK methods that you have to call. You then have to integrate Paytm login, like we saw in the earlier video, so that it's really seamless for the customer where they don't have to think about login. You also, in the end, have to integrate with Paytm payments if you do have a transactional use case. If you don't have a transactional use case, you don't need to integrate with Paytm payments. The integration with Paytm payments is also something that works with the mini app SDK out of the box. And as we'll see, it's really straightforward to do. There's one key thing to understand. As much as we have focused on developer expertise and developer experience to make this as easy as possible for all of you, we have not let go of our laser focus on security to make sure that this entire experience is as safe and secure for customers as well as developers throughout their entire journey. So now let's look at how we can get started with detecting that you're in the mini app container. So the first thing to note, and this is something that be of great interest to all of you watching on this, is that the web app powering the Paytm mini app is hosted on your infrastructure. And that's really, really important to note, because at the end of the day, this app is yours, right? It runs on your infrastructure. You can run your analytics on it. You can run your tools on it. You have full control of the code. We'll have a few platform policies around this, but you as a developer are fully in control. You can detect whether this user is on the mini app in your web app in one of two ways. You can try and detect this on the client side by looking at the user agent, and we use a custom user agent there for you to be able to detect this. Or you can also detect this on your server side. In fact, it's even easier on the server side. Why is it easier on the server side? Because when you create a mini app, we ask you for a URL. And in the URL, you can just add a query string or just some sort of indicator to let you know that this request is coming from a mini app. Then, depending on the fact that it's coming from a mini app, you can choose how you'd like to change your behavior. Maybe you change your UI a little bit. Maybe you change the way you call certain methods. It's really completely up to you. So this makes it very easy for you to take your existing web app, just add a few checks in there and start doing custom mini app code if you so need to. A lot of our code examples as we'll go through this presentation will be with JavaScript, just for everyone to understand. But I'm again repeating that this works on the back end with any framework that you have, because it's just a set of simple API calls. Now let's talk about the other key part, the second part of how you can get started by integrating and turning your web app into a mini app, which is login. Anyone who's ever built products where you have to get user login knows just how much of a pain they are. They're painful from a product perspective. They're painful for customers. They're painful for security, and they're painful for developers. I've been there. You've been there. We've all been there. As a developer, you want to write your core business logic. You don't want to spend your time writing yet one more service or more lines of code. Oh, how do I deal with retries in my OTP? What happens if my OTP fails 3 times? How do I verify this user? Is someone trying to spoof login by doing too many things? All of that is something that is taken care of by Paytm. At Paytm, we have a world-class cybersecurity team that actively monitors and maintains best-in-class security for how we map user logins. The other thing to note when you're integrating with Paytm login is that we explicitly obtain the user's permission and consent before sharing any of their information with the developers and with the mini app. This is something that is very important to us, and the user is always in control of the information that they share. And as I said, there's no effort required on your part to try and maintain security, password reset logic. How do you auto read an SMS to pre-fill an OTP input field? None of that is required. We take care of it. And all the innovation that Paytm brings to how users log in, whether it's device binding, whether it's fraud attempts, whether it's using advanced ML and AI to detect fraudulent logins, all of that gets available to you for no additional cost at all. And it's really this simple. There's a simple client-side JavaScript SDK. You have a client, you have an app client ID. You can write your own wrappers around this depending on how comfortable you feel writing code, whether you prefer writing your JavaScript code with callbacks, whether you prefer async await, whether you prefer promises. No matter what style you would like to write your code in, you can write wrappers around this very basic and simple interface that we give to you to be able to trigger this. So the way that login works is that it's a 3-step process. The first thing that you do is that on the client, you ask the user for permission to share their information. You do a simple API call saying, hey, I want the user to log in. When this happens, the user shares their consent. On the client, you get a simple authorization code, a one-time authorization code. You have to take this authorization code from the client and send it to your backend. You can send it via an API call, or you can send it through any mechanism that you have to communicate with your backend. Once this token is available in your backend, you can then make an API call or use one of our libraries to fetch the user's information. You take this code, you convert it into a token, and using that token, you can now fetch the user's information. For those of you for whom this might look a little familiar, as we said before, we've built the entire idea of mini apps on open standards, on publicly available and well-known internet standards. So the entire login flow actually works on OAuth 2. So for those of you who are familiar with OAuth 2, or for those of you who have worked on it before, it's the open standard for identity sharing across the internet. The token that you obtain has an expiry, so you can save it in your database, and you have to be mindful of the expiry, after which you can renew it and refetch it. And using this token, you can fetch the user's information, their profile information, their email, their phone number, all verified, all secure. You can also use this token to fetch the user's information periodically, so that you're also notified about things like, oh, the user has updated the display photo, so I need to change it in my app. Maybe the user has updated their name or their display name. I need to update it in my app. Imagine how much pain you spend in your own apps trying to build all of these flows out. And here you have something that just works out of the box for you with just a couple of SDK method calls or just a couple of API calls. The last peg of the basic integration of a web app into a mini app is payments. And we've talked about how payments can be painful. We've talked about how with Paytm, they're really safe and secure, and payments are literally one tap. And let's talk about how the actual process will flow. Payments also are a 3-step process, and we'll sort of go through each of them. The first prerequisite for being able to do payments with mini apps is that you need to be integrated with the Paytm payment gateway. Now, I'm sure a lot of you on this call and a lot of you watching later are already integrated with the Paytm payment gateway. After all, we're the largest payment gateway in the country. But for those of you who are not, don't worry about it. Your simple sign-up process, when you're signing up to create a mini app, we automatically also take care of making sure that all the payment gateway pieces are also integrated for you. So no additional steps are required for you on that. Once you're onboarded onto the Paytm payment gateway through our seamless onboarding process, you get access to rich payment APIs that allow you to fetch a transaction token. And this is really quite straightforward. Somewhere in your entire product, when you're creating an order or you're initiating a transaction, all you have to do is make an API call to the payment gateway to initiate a transaction. You specify the amount, you specify any such conditions, and in return, the payment gateway gives you a simple transaction token. You take this transaction token and you give it to the mini app SDK. That's it. There are no more complicated steps. You just pass this transaction token to the mini app SDK, and we take care of the rest. You don't have to write any code to deal with complicated payment UI. You don't have to worry about how to saved cards work. You don't have to worry about how to retries work. If, for example, I type my UPI PIN wrong, all of that is taken care of for you. Now, you might wonder that there might be a lot of scenarios where you might integrate with third party. In your traditional websites, you might integrate with other payment gateways, which sort of is similar. But the big difference over here is that most web apps, when you integrate on your own with a payment gateway, the user, when they go to that payment gateway, has to re-enter all of their details. They have to enter their card again. They have to link their Paytm wallet again. They have to enter an OTP again. They have to type in their UPI handle. Here, with mini apps, you don't have to do any of that. You pass the token in, the payment gateway screen opens up. It's a rich, native, secure screen. It's the exact same payment experience that you get that is part of the core Paytm app across all of Paytm's businesses. So it has best-in-class security and it has best-in-class user experience as well. And as a company, Paytm has completely transformed how payments happen in India. And all the innovation, all the excitement, all the user experience knowledge that we bring on how to make payments easier and easier for customers, how to integrate with more complex use cases, how to integrate new payment methods, all of that becomes available to each and every one of you as developers out of the box with no extra work required. You continue invoking the SDK with the token and with the details. And if any new payment method is added to Paytm, it'll just be added for your app as well. And then once the user finishes the payment, control automatically comes back to your mini app. You don't have to write any extra code for it. We just give you control back on the mini app. Once you get control back in the mini app, then it's really up to you. You can call your backend. You can verify the transaction to be secure that the money has actually come to you. You can then make whatever API calls that you need to confirm your order, to finish everything and do all of that. It's really that simple. Now, the user's journey just doesn't end with login and payment, right? The next thing that you want to do is you actually want to send notifications. And this is something that is such a huge pain point when you're using or you're building your own thing. You integrate with the payment gateway, sure, and you build an order system, sure. But then after that, you have to integrate with an SMS gateway and send SMSs. After that, you have to maybe integrate or try and build in-app push notifications and figure out how to get, cloud push notification keys and how to set up those API calls, how to register your device tokens and all of the complication that comes out with it. Maybe you have to integrate with an email provider and figure out how your templating will work and how do you do all of that. We take care of all of that for you. If you're using a mini app and you do a transaction on Paytm, we offer you completely at no additional cost at all, a full functionality notification service as well, which allows you to send rich in-app notifications to your customers. And these in-app notifications can not only have rich content in them and can be fired by you programmatically, these rich notifications can also have deep links or in-app links that take you to pages within your mini app. So here we have an example that we've seen before as well, that when you order a Domino's pizza on the mini app within the Paytm app, after your transaction, Domino's actually sends you a rich in-app notification, which has a link to take you to live order tracking, where you can see where your pizza delivery is. And this live order tracking is happening within the mini app itself. The user is not having to go to 5 different apps, track all of this. The transaction happened in the Paytm app, but the link opens in the browser and all of the complication that happens with links sent in email and SMS and all of these mechanisms. And as I said before, and I'm again repeating to you, this works out of the box with one simple SDK method call, one simple API call, and is at no additional cost to all of you. The last thing that I want to talk about is what we spoke about a little earlier, which is exposing or talking about the rich native functionality that is available to you. At Paytm, we solve a lot of challenges for digital Indians. We solve a lot of challenges to make sure that our products serve a lot of different needs. And some of those learnings are what we have brought to all of you by fixing or making it easier for problems like login, for tricky problems like payments, for notifications. We've solved them and we're offering that to you. But we know the true power of the app ecosystem and the true power of Digital India is when thousands of developers like all of you can build absolutely incredible apps and incredible entrepreneurial journeys way beyond what Paytm does. And for all of you to be able to do that, you will have incredible ideas that require rich native functionality to be able to use them. And that is why we are exposing more and more native functionality so that all of you can build the kind of product journeys and apps that you would like to build. So To start with, we're already exposing a lot of native functionality to you via the SDK and via bridges, things like capturing images, things like picking photos from the gallery, native geolocation capabilities, checking for user permissions on different OSS. We also have the ability where if there's pre-built UI for certain platform features, we offer that to you as well. And the really fantastic thing about this is the fact that no matter what OS version you're on, and different OS versions have different sort of incompatibilities, our SDK methods remain the same. So that makes it really easy for you to have a consistent experience throughout. And at Paytm, we will keep offering more and more native functionality to you as we keep building this out. And every time we make the functionality better and better, all you have to do is change a couple of lines of code in your web app, and it's instantly updated and available to every single user. Don't have to wait for an app release cycle. You don't have to wait for an app approval cycle. You don't have to go through a long process. Make the change in code, verify that it's working, deploy it, and it's instantly available to everyone through our developer console and through the mechanisms that we have. So that's largely how the basic experience of converting your web app into a native app is. And I'm really looking forward to the incredible ecosystem opportunities and the incredible entrepreneurial dreams of all of you, and the incredible mini apps that will come out of this integration. At Paytm, our incredible developer team is very focused on making sure that any functionality that you need is something that we support in mini apps. And in the coming days, we'll be doing a lot of workshops, we'll be doing a lot of talks to take all of you through an even deeper journey on how to get started with your own mini apps and to answer any questions that all of you might have. And I'm really looking forward to how all of us will build the future of digital India together. Thank you so much, everyone. And over to Shreyas to continue this presentation.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nihal.
Thanks, Nihal. As you guys have seen, we've now shown you the product capabilities. We've also shown you the tech, how it works. I just want to summarize before we bring in some amazing partners who already built in apps on our beta store. I just want to go back to where we started with product challenges. Yeah, can you just check? We talked about build, we talked about discover, and we talked about how a web app and native app has challenges of their own. And we talked about how it's really hard once you build something to find discovery and find growth. Today, this was the old way of building digital products. Now I want to show you how this translates to the mini app way. Next slide, please. This is how it transforms when you want to build digital products the Paytm mini app way. Building is easy. You can easily convert your existing web app into a Paytm mini app. No download is required. Single code base works across all platforms. Access to powerful native features from your mini app is available. You can discover 150 million users and use amazing Paytm CLM tools to grow your business. We hope you're as excited as about us about building new apps, and all of you are waiting on how to get started. Next slide, please. We have already documentation ready for you to start learning about how to build an app. We are going to be publishing a developer Slack channel where you can join and interact with our own in-house developers to figure out how best to build apps. Expect an announcement from us sometime in the next week. Please follow the Paytm social handles and we'll be announcing it there. And I really look forward to the journey of seeing some amazing mini apps. Thank you so much. Thank you for the amazing team at Paytm, everyone across all teams in the Paytm mini apps team who worked on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreyas. It's incredible what you guys have built in such a short span of time. And guys, as I promised you that I have a incredible, not just a mini app, which is ability to distribute your apps and build apps for hundreds of millions of Indians, but also a commercial offer here. And nothing better than to launch a slide and so that you can read it. We at Paytm are committed to develop India's technology ecosystem, which can champion what proud Indians, what able programmers and developers in India can build. We're not just the back office developers, my friend. We are the developers who can build the best develop the best apps in the world. And today we are announcing a 10 crore investment fund for mini app developers in this country. So that means that people who want to build mini apps on our platform will have an equity investment of, we are setting aside a 10 crore rupees of equity investment for you all mini app developers, so that you can port your apps, create new apps, and these app development terms, these investment terms will be one of the most lenient investment terms that you can expect. And that is the thing that I was telling you about as the one last thing, that before we talk about what the mini app system would be. So everybody, I'm sure you would be very excited by not only the ability of our platform to build and distribute your mini app, but also an opportunity to get an investment from Paytm. And that investment amount that we've set aside to be invested is 10 crore rupees for mini app developers. Thank you so much for joining us. Now I give it to my host back, and we have a panel here. So look forward to see you in the panel, and then we do the Q&A literally after those panels, questions, panel discussion that is there. So back to Shez for your panel discussion.
Thank you, Vijay. Before the panel, we want a couple of our partners who've been building mini apps in the beta phase. I want to take this opportunity to introduce Vikas, who's the co-founder of 1MG, which is India's largest digital health platform. And Vikas will talk about the journey of developing a mini app and how they see this partnership going forward. Thank you so much, Vikas. Over to you.
Hey, thank you, Shayan. Thank you, Vijay. I think it's a great platform. And as I stand before this crowd in a virtual environment, I see and I can echo the anxiety and the excitement they would be having to listen about this great initiative. I think from our perspective, we always believed ecosystem partnerships are certainly the way to build a strong network to bring consumer services that are easily accessible from the convenience of any medium end consumer might want to choose. And uh, uh, availability of such services through different mediums, through channels, offline, online, is certainly the way forward in this. I think the mini app platform is certainly what India needed. It is step in the right direction to open up great opportunity for the great community of developers that we have, the great entrepreneurial zeal that we see, and to provide them an opportunity to bring out and showcase their talent through this great medium. So we see this as a next step to building a strong digital backend ecosystem, as Vijay just mentioned, and proud to be the initial partners on this. Shen, can you go to the next slide? Next one. Yep. So I'll quickly take a few minutes to talk about this. I think when we started initial discussions, and on the very first call, when I was introduced from the team that this is something of interest for us, I was really excited to learn about this initiative. And we quickly get on a call with the development team, and as a role that we look at for integration with multiple other partners in the ecosystem, we had our initial apprehension that it would take a lot of effort in understanding what it is, and so we had a very large team from business, tech, product, and everyone coming in. In the first call, it became very clear that it is a very well thought through, structured program in which everything for a program from a developer perspective was clearly laid out. The roles, responsibilities, aspects of the tech and product were completely clearly defined, and it was a seamless journey once we initiated the process and completed the porting of the app on the platform. I think I will skip the technical details which are required, be it the native Android iOS API bridges or the SSO integration, and how seamless it becomes for the user on the UI front and all those capabilities. I think Shreyas has already talked about it. I'll talk about two aspects. One, the whole program, we were able to find answers mostly in the document which were there, and there was no need to continuously reach out for any troubleshooting that was needed. Now, it is important simply because at the initial stage, if that well thought process has come, you can very well understand how deep the investments and the forward looking team at the Paytm end is. So that was one, and from start to finish for a complex app like us took less than 2 weeks. So that was a very significant aspect for building out such a platform with massive scale to be able to port so easily and enable a seamless journey. I think the second important part is the dev team behind it and the support team. I remember once somebody from our end reached out that they need some clarification on certain aspect, and it was almost 10 in the night, and the team was available to support us, and we met the deadline simply because the team was continuously available to support us, push us, solve any issues that we faced, and that goes to show the commitment that they bring to the table to make it a success. For us, it is a proud moment, and we wanted to thank Paytm to enable us as the initial partners, and we wish them all the success in this.
Thank you. Really good to see you here. Thank you, Vikas. Means a lot to see your support, and happy to see the growth of 1MG. Really appreciate it. Now, Shesh, we have another partner here. Do we?
Yes, we do. I also want to take this opportunity to introduce Samir from UEngage. Samir has been one of the technology leaders who's been around for more than 13 years, working in the marketing automation hyperlocal space, and they've been building some amazing mini apps on top of the Paytm mini app platform. So Samir, over to you.
Samir, welcome from Chandigarh. I can see that you're coming from Chandigarh and building restaurants apps. I was taking especially your example. Congratulations on building mini app on Paytm, and congratulations on building UEngage.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you for all the support, and we're really excited. And so I still remember when we started talking about it, and personally, I was really bullish about this whole thing because as a tech-first company, for when we had this vision back in 2018 that we want to help the small businesses and restaurants to be probably have lesser dependency on aggregators. So we were able to jot down 3 different pillars that they have to have a very low cost technology, they have to have probably simpler logistical service, and probably very low cost demand generation. And till date, trust me, we had tried a lot of different ways. We had spent a lot of money on your traditional app install campaigns, your SEO, and tons of other things. But for small businesses, demand generation has always been a challenge, right? So I see this as a huge opportunity for companies like us, for the small businesses, because there is no upfront cost, right? It's a very simple, low cost model, and really looking forward to keep on building more apps on this. In fact, when we Shresh, can I please have next slide? Yeah, so I think we can move on to the next one. So I'll not talk about much of the tech part because Nihar and Shreyas, they have already explained a lot about it. But still, the benefits, I would say there are tons of benefits. Like Nihar was mentioning, that rather than actually building the whole user onboarding experience, right? So the whole thing is no OTP, single sign-on login, right? So as a developer, that saves a lot of time for me, right? So location awareness is a big advantage for hyperlocal apps that we build for our partners, right? So saved cards, reuse addresses, which probably I think Shreyas can confirm if that is coming ahead. And I'm also kind of pitching probably from a developer community point of view, if we can have more targeted user-based campaigns for all our partner apps in the future. So really looking forward to it, right? And when we launched the very first app, it was like pretty smooth experience, and because we had already built up a PWA, right? And all we had to do is just plug in the JS bridges, which hardly took us, I think I would say, less than 2 to 3 days. And we are really committed. And Vijay, I think we will be onboarding at least 50 new mini apps within first month, and hopefully we'll keep on adding more value to it. and we'll be able to add more value to our partners' ecosystem. Thank you again. Thank you, Shreyas. Thank you, Vijay. And we're really looking forward to keep on expanding this vertical.
Congratulations, Samir. It is going to be incredible for people like you to build mini apps for shops also, restaurants also.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so
yes.
excited. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody being told to some or other person. I absolutely love when we can remove those things. Imagine the kind of innovation can come and kind of small business support that they can get through us.
Right,
So
right.
much.
Yeah. So
And
last point. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I would like to add, to all the developers, just start adding, the mini apps developer to your profile, your LinkedIn, your websites. Trust me, it's going to be a huge search spike in coming weeks, and you would not want to miss this opportunity.
Wow. You are telling absolutely the correct thing, guys, because we are going to run campaigns in city basis to drive and sign up as many developers as possible. And
Right.
people like you, people like Samir, you in Chandigarh, and so many who are logged in their cities. I absolutely love the number of cities I get to see, from Thrissur to Allahabad to, Odisha. And I loved it. There are people from Mandvi, there are people from obviously Noida, Delhi, and Bangalore, but there are people from Udaipur, there are people from Indore, Vadodara. I absolutely love Tamil Nadu, obviously, Chennai, Varanasi, Jabalpur. I cannot say how excited I am when you all guys are logging in Riva, Bhopal, Kochi. Love it. Kochi, the beautiful place I'm a fan of. Devas. I can see that some of us are from so far away. And I call upon each of you guys that you will be the champion. Okay, somebody logged in from Goa. Do you know Shreyas actually is right now in Goa? He's logging in from Goa. So you know it. Oh my God, you were the person from Farrukhawad. I love Samir. You were from another Samir Kumar from Farrukhawad. I'm from Uttar Pradesh. I'm from Aligarh. Imagine when we all come together, what magic we can create.
Exactly.
Oh, I can see a Ramgarh person, Nashik, Latur. Oh, I was in Manmad, guys. I lived in Manmad, so that you know it. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I think each one of you are the tech leaders who go in your city as the champion of new technology. I call upon each of you to champion the mini apps. We will engage Saloni, who is in this team. Saloni, if you can show up yourself on this call, it'll be amazing, because we want to talk how you shares will be available, and Nihar, like we just now talked, and Prince will be available to log into so many places and talk to each of you to bring everything that it means that we can bring at least 1 million apps, before each of us is able to go through the victimization of that 1 million, 30% charges that Google is putting all of us. Saloni, you can see here, Saloni is here in this call. Saloni and Shreyas will be doing tons and tons of developer conferences in your cities and bringing in each of you who are right now logged in. You are our early champion. We respect and regard you. We absolutely love that your passion is what drives us. Your passion is absolutely what drives us, and we would do things that we will learn together. A lot of you are talking, why do we not allow the app binary to distribute? Maybe we should allow. I mean, that's a great idea. I'm only going to say that maybe we should allow it. The short answer is, we obviously want to do perfect things that is good for developers, that is good for this ecosystem in this country. If we believe that India will be the superpower, it has to be through the technology superpower, and we ourselves cannot lose home. It's like saying, इसका मतलब है कि आपके घर में तो कोई और रह रहा है, आप कह रहे हो कि हम सारी दुनिया पे राज करेंगे. ऐसा नहीं होने देंगे हम. Correct? So that is what is the ambition of this mini app program is. With this, I bring it back again to Shaz to take it to the next session of this evening. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Vikas, for logging in and talking about it.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you, Samir. Thank you for the kind words. We have an amazing panel. We have the who's who of the Indian startup ecosystem. This has been a hotly contested topic, and I thought, what better than to bring in the best experts around these topics to come and talk to about us. So Rajesh, Vishal, Muruga, Anand, if you guys could turn on your videos, please, that would be great.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you for being here. Murga, you are the champion, who are the crusader, I'd say. Not the champion, but a crusader. And Vishal, your red hot fight in the court with Twitter. Who does not know about it? Thank you, all of you. Anand, who champions the startup ecosystems from early investments to the supporting in any movement that they come together. Rajesh, you've been the champion of Indian developers and Indian startups much before this country saw any incubator, much before this country saw any angel developers, angel investors formally. You built those. What is your first comment on our Paytm mini app ecosystem now that you've understood that it actually is a legitimate homepage icon also, not just that you require to go through that?
Vijay, I love your statement that you're building a rocket launcher and we have million satellites to launch immediately. So I hope this is the biggest rocket launcher program India is building in the web space or internet space. Its impact should be bigger than that of ISRO on the world economy.
Oh,
and I think it will be felt very soon.
Thank you, Rajesh.
A nation of billion people cannot have one gatekeeper, right? A million developers' destiny cannot be decided by one gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper is not even Indian, right? Yeah. And then we pay 30% Bharat tax. GST is 5%, 10%. So competition is the cornerstone of startup ecosystem. We cannot allow monopolies to distort the competition. In our laws of India cannot be smaller than the laws of Google or any other company.
Absolutely,
so I wish you good luck, and I know you will improve and improvise. It's just the beginning. A developer should be patient and work with you to create an alternate ecosystem.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you so much. Your word means a lot to me, lot to us, lot to each one of us who's working on this. I invite Anand Lunia, who's actually an investor. I mean, I'm starting from investors to the entrepreneurs because I think investors have a view on the world at a bigger level than just an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is busy with a particular lens of the world. So Anand, on a wider ecosystem, applications like mini app store or app store, what kind of impact they do, and is there a contribution we as Paytm mini apps store are trying to do is even relevant in today's context?
So Vijay, I want to bring the analogy. I think you know the analogy of electricity provider. Right? It's very surprising, right? So if let's imagine that there is only one electricity provider in a city, right? The electricity provider will say, see, dude, whatever you are doing, your consulting work, your technology work, whatever you're manufacturing, producing, it is only happening because of my electricity, right? And I want a 30% revenue share. I will not charge you per unit. I will want a revenue share. And they will have 20,000 excuses. If there is only one electricity provider, they will have 20,000 excuses to the government, right? I mean, you can imagine how much clout they will have, because even the government is also scared. If the government revenue also they want a 30% share, they can ask for it theoretically, right? And the point there is that the first thing, right, is to provide an alternative to somebody who has a monopoly. And that sort of gives all the rule makers, the regulators, and the government and all the players an alternative and saying, okay, this can be done. We don't have to be dependent. The other part is, what's happening is that I want to bring the point about wealth creation, Vijay. So what is happening with all these global companies who come and monopolize in India? We feel that they are bringing jobs to India. So what they do, what jobs does Google bring in India? They bring some sales jobs or they bring some call center jobs, and we start feeling very happy, right? Then there are other companies who keep discounting and they bring FDI to discount in the country. We celebrate, oh wow, hamara FDI pad gaya. Like actually, if you see who's getting the real benefit, the wealth benefit is actually going to all the people in USA, because you and I can't actually invest in those stocks today. Very, very limited money, or mostly you can't. Second thing is all the technology wealth, right? Which is created by having access, by developing technology, by people having worked in all of these companies. The technical wealth also again is residing in the parent country only. It is not developed in India. So India actually is deprived of two major wealths, of capital creation and of technology creation, and we are deprived of that. and we are simply celebrating only ki, okay, we got some call center jobs and we got some sales job, right? That is the problem. And that is sort of the overall framework of, if we really want to do something for India, we will have to go grounds up and say, okay, we want everything. It is not against a particular foreign company or Indian company. We are an open country. This is about what are they creating for India.
परफेक्ट आनंद, आपने बहुत सही बात बोली और मैं सबको बताना चाहता हूं, ना ईस्ट की कोई कंपनी ना वेस्ट की कोई कंपनी अगर इंडिया पे कोई राज करेगा तो इंडिया की होगी वो कंपनी। आई मीन ये बात हमें ध्यान रखनी चाहिए। वी आर वेरी वेरी क्लियर दैट वी कैन नॉट लेट आवर डेस्टिनी बी कंट्रोल्ड बाय फॉरेनर्स, चाहे वो अमेरिका से आ रहे हो, चाहे चाइना से आ रहे हो, चाहे वो यूरोप से आ रहे हो, चाहे वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया से आ रहे हो, किसी भी कंट्री से आ रहे हो, वो इंडियन ही होना चाहिए जिसको इंडिया के रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस को फॉलो करने की ऑब्लिगेशन होनी चाहिए। ये एक बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट बात है।
करेक्ट।
विशाल, आप एक इंडिया के अंदर बैठे हुए हो, आपका एक ऐप है जो ऐप स्टोर में है और आप एक फॉरेन की कंपनी को बोल रहे हो कि वो कुछ करें, और आप कोर्ट में भी गए, इसके बाद आपको कुछ नोटिस मिला उस कंपनी को, उसके बाद उस कंपनी ने क्या कहा, वो एग्जांपल बताएं। और ये बताएं कि ये जो कंपनियां जो डिजिटल क्षेत्र में, हमारे जो डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में, इंटरनेट के वर्ल्ड में, टेक्नोलॉजी के वर्ल्ड में राज करती हैं, उनके क्लाउड और उनके आई वुड से एरोगेंस कह सकते हैं, जब वो इस कंट्री के लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को फॉलो करने में बिलीव नहीं करते, उसके बारे में डिटेल करें आप विशाल।
देखिए, स्टार्टअप्स को ऑलरेडी बहुत चैलेंज होते हैं ऑल साइड से, वेदर इट इज कस्टमर, टेक्नोलॉजी, सेल्स, मार्केटिंग, बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस हैं। और ये पहली बार हमने देखा है कि एक जो चैलेंज है आपके पास वो कंप्लीटली वन साइडेड है और इसका कोई रिकोर्स नहीं है। जिस तरह पेटीएम का ही आप ऐप देख लो, पेटीएम एक बैंक है, आपको गवर्न करता है आरबीआई। तो अगर आप एक फिजिकल बैंक हो तो आपको सिर्फ आरबीआई या कोई गवर्नमेंट आके आपको बोल सकते हैं कि आपका बैंक बंद कर दिया जाए। टुडे इन द डिजिटल वर्ल्ड, बैंक अगर डिजिटल है तो सारे कस्टमर्स डिजिटल है। तो ये ऐसा हो गया कि किसी कंपनी ने आरबीआई को सुपरसीड कर दिया। नॉर्मली आरबीआई बताएगा कि बैंक खुलेगा या नहीं खुलेगा, पर अभी सडनली ये हुआ कि मिलियंस ऑफ कस्टमर्स के पास ऐप ही नहीं है जिनके सेविंग्स हैं आपके पास डिपॉजिटेड। सो इट इज नॉट अबाउट, आई थिंक ये जो हुआ, इट इज अ बिग वेकअप कॉल कि द रियलिटी इज कि हमको लगता है कि हम हमारे देश में रहते हैं, हमारे देश के लॉज को हम गवर्न करते हैं, हम उनका पालन भी करते हैं। ऑल ऑफ अस फॉलो द रूल ऑफ आवर लैंड, बट द चैलेंज इज दीज कंपनीज आर नॉट फॉलोइंग द लॉज। एंड हम लोग, ये एक्चुअली हमारे लिए सरप्राइजिंग था। हमारा जब फौजी और गोकी के जो फेक एप्स आ रहे हैं, फेक न्यूज आ रही है ट्विटर पे, ये जब सारा मामला सामने आया तो पहले हमने पुलिस के पास गए, पुलिस ने इनको मेल्स लिखे, लेटर्स लिखे, इन्होंने कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया। उसके बाद हम कोर्ट तक के पास गए, कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर दिया इनको कि ये सारे फेक न्यूज, और अभी जो एप्स 550 फेक एप्स आ गए हैं और मिलियंस ऑफ डाउनलोड्स हो चुके हैं इन एप्स के, और अभी भी हो रहे हैं फौजी ऐप के। तो ये तक बताया गया, पर इनका डिस्प्यूट ये था कि ये सारी कंपनीज का कहना है कि इवन दो ये कंपनीज इंडिया में ऑपरेट करती हैं, ट्विटर, गूगल, फेसबुक, ये कह रही हैं कि इनको कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है कि इनकी पेरेंट कंपनीज क्या कर रही हैं। तो सिंपल मतलब ये है कि ये सिर्फ काम कर रही है पैसा कलेक्शन का। यहाँ जितना पैसा है इनको आप दे दो, पर अगर कोई रूल फॉलो करना है वो कंप्लीटली नो, वो ये नहीं कर सकती। तो आज हमने देखा एक कोर्ट ऑर्डर आया है, पर मेरे हिसाब से ये तो एक छोटी सी, ये बहुत बहुत बड़ा युद्ध है जो हमें सबको मिलकर लड़ना पड़ेगा। ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी का फिलॉसफी सबको पता था, डिवाइड एंड रूल। यहां हमको यूनाइट होके फ्री करना है हमारे इकोसिस्टम को। और आई थिंक विजय, व्हाट यू हैव डन विद द पेटीएम मिनी एप्स is actually the first step, because for the first time we are all going to unite and do something for India, for our developers, for our platforms. So I think this is not just a product launch, I think this is a launch of a movement, and for all of us, all of the startups, the customers, everybody over here should not think of this just as a product. I think every time somebody uses the mini app store, it is telling that I choose to remain free and have my own choice. And that is really how this move is so significant.
Thank you, Vishal. Murga, you've been fighting the big Google for some fight. You've been fighting by raising the voice against the Google search when you were in the business of internet-led traffic. Google again did it, and now in the App Store it is again did it. In fact, in App Store it is also asking for 30% money. There at least it was just saying that I could route the traffic to someone. Right now it has gone outrageous to a balance sheet level. Give us an example of the fight that you fought, the kind of learnings that you had, and the kind of things that you learned about these large technology monopolies when you fight them.
Thank you, Vijay, and thank you, friends. Our earlier fight was we built a brand, and Google allowed other people to use the brand, both in the SCM as well as the SEO. Again, the fight was not only on allowing people to use the trademark. We showed other examples. One of the examples was when people are looking for flight search, instead of showing make my trip, other people in the travel service, they're listing coming on the top. Google had a prominent visibility of their own internal travel search. Basically, that trying to abuse their monopoly to promote the internal services was the fight we had taken with the Competition Commission of India. And they were fined for 130 crore. And again, that's been going on. It took almost more than 10 years to demonstrate that Google abused the dominance power. It's today the issue is about much bigger. It's another freedom movement. Okay, people spoke about how the East India company that control India, and we have to go through all the challenges. It's a much bigger issue. Today, internet is way of life. Internet in India is controlled by Google. 95% app downloads are happen through Google Play Store, and literally more than 90% Indian internet traffic flow through Google ecosystem, be it Android, be it app system. And that being the case, imagine, Vijay, I ask you a question differently. Assume that today BharatMatrimony.com is the only source of people to find a life partner. I'm asking everyone, if you are getting married, you have to pay 30% of the wedding expenses through me. Okay, that's the kind of thing. Assume that Naukri is the only place for people to find a job. And Naukri telling the first month you have to pay 30% of the salary to me, and subsequent month you have to pay 15% of the salary to me. If not, you cannot be part of my platform. It's literally atrocious. As Rajesh said, the government has 18% on GST. We understandable. It's our country. Be Indian. We have to pay tax. And Google, for what reasons? It's just a mere distributor of the apps. It's more like a distributor asking you have to pay 30% of sales happening. It's really atrocious. This is only the starting thing. And you're talking about removing the apps. Today we are all at the mercy of Google. Tomorrow suddenly they remove the apps. We are all basically living with the life of the knife hanging on our sword hanging on our head. We don't know when they're going to decide, sorry, you are not following the policy, and they can decide the policy. And who's controlling that policy? Today they say that you have to pay 30% of your billing on various services like subscription, digital payment, fitness, health tech. Tomorrow they say that it can be increased to all the services. Tomorrow they can say for even food ordering service, you have to pay 10%. Tomorrow they say you can say for even the cab hailing service, you have to pay 10%. Even e-commerce services. Simply they have to say that our policy is changed. Starting to so-and-so date, you have to pay certain commission. Literally taxing each and every company in India. It's really atrocious. And is it time you allowed to come together and free internet from the glitches of Google? Okay, and I appreciate for you to taking this, launching the mini apps and leading this fight. And it's happening at the right time. And it's important that we have to win the fight against Google for the long-term benefit of Indian internet companies and Indian internet consumers. Because if not, the end consumers end up in paying much more than what they're currently paying the services. So it's another freedom movement for India, freeing internet from the clutches of the top global companies. I really appreciate you taking this fight and you launching the mini app, and a lot to be done. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, Murga. What you just now pointed out, I want to show here the people, some of the app developer and media and people as a common people, we are not aware that Google has actually said any app functionality, any digital content or good, For example, like virtual currencies, subscriptions of any kind, even music service, video service, education service.
Matrimony. Vijay, sorry, it includes subscription, include everything. tomorrow
Everything.
anything,
Every subscription is included in this 30%. Imagine government is not taxing that much as much Google is taking away this money. It is so incredible to see the cloud software service, data storage, business productivity, financial management. It is so incredible that some arbitrary policy that like that can be actually made and implemented on our country. So Murga absolutely very correctly put that it is clear that somebody is taking away our 30% internet economy revenue, if you will, in a way, because 95% is what is deployed on Google Android ecosystem as a consumer. Anand, you were saying.
Just to add to your point, that ek taraf say they want this 30%, but when it comes to the laws of India, they say they are not absolutely, they are nothing to do with it. So Twitter India in the court last week made a representation that they have nothing. They just control, they just do marketing and nothing, and they have no control over Twitter Inc. So while they want the revenues, they do not want any of their content or app store or any of this to follow any laws of India, which is the biggest challenge here.
No, absolutely right, Vishal. So, there is one misconception about the fact that Google is providing a lot of services in lieu of the 30%, right? That's a big misconception being spread in the media also.
Yeah, what service they are providing?
Yeah, exactly the point, right? You're right. The thing is that, if they're really providing the service, why don't they try to charge 30% on Flipkart and Amazon, right? That'll be a good fight to see. There'll be a fight of equal. So a company like Google coming and trying to screw the happiness of small developers, right? I mean, that's easy. They can boss around there. This is one part. The other part is that a lot of people now think that this is a trivial thing. Hardly 3% of the developers they claim this is a small thing. But the reality is, we're just entering, right? After the broadband has now become so all pervasive in the country, we're just entering the digital era. And like we have been importing oil for last 50 years, right? And we have been dependent on oil. In fact, if you see what is the biggest geopolitical issue with India is the dependence on oil, right? We have been held to ransom multiple times because of the huge oil import bill. And by the way, oil also has never been linked to the production cost, right? All of these people ganged up and they decided that, the people who don't produce oil are going to pay this particular price, right? Now, next 50 years, we are going to have a much higher import bill, right? And this is all import. In the country, you are not allowed to import a car. You are not allowed to import anything without paying high duties, right? Because we are capable of doing these kind of things. Whereas in the case of import of digital services from Google or Facebook or any of these companies, we pay.
Anand, the 3% is a misconception.
We have been compromised. Sad part that the Indian Association recommended. Yeah, these are like, really hardly any taxes, right? I mean, 1%, 2%, 3%, 5% adjustment tax, where Indian people pay 18% without any set off anyways, right? What is the cost of a developer for paying GST 18%, right? But we're still paying, and we're happy to pay because it's a government tax. The thing is that, you fast forward this 10 years, our import bill is likely to be higher than our oil import bill, right? Digital import bill. And that is the bigger macro risk that I see. And which is why it looks trivial today, but we have to fight this, and we have to fight this not just for the sake of the developer ecosystem, but for the overall macroeconomic stability of the country.
Anand, that 3% is misrepresented. Yeah. It's affecting 100% of the companies who provide various services, because most of the apps in the ecosystem are free apps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what they're saying is going to affect only 3%. No, it's going to affect 100% of the companies providing various services. Tomorrow, they can simply change the policy, include various services. Look at, all the subscription services, all the buying digital content. I would say the only 3%.
The whole problem is, I'll tell you what, there is no transparency in this, right? If this was the Indian listed company, we could have gone through their documents and said, okay, this is their cost structure, they can't charge this much, right? But there is zero transparency. We have no clue what actually Google is spending for this and how much they are charging against it. Nobody has any idea, right? I mean, nobody has actually ever seen the Google accounts for India. If they come to India, if anybody who tries to do this within India, our Indian media are very smart enough to analyze the MCA filing, right? I mean, in fact, a very good level of expertise in analyzing MCA filings in India has been developed now. But Google, you can't do that, right? And that's the problem. So there is zero linkage to what actual their spends are. And this is simply an abuse of monopoly.
But I think, Anand, the only point I want to add here is that this is not just an India problem. This has now been realized. Even in the US, Epic Games has set up a coalition now with Spotify and several developers, because this is not just unique to us. It is also happening across the world, and not just Google. Apple is equally part of this. It's just that Apple doesn't have a massive market share here. So I think this whole concept of charging disproportionate revenue share and then having rules of a marketplace which you play with is a challenge worldwide. And I would also urge the regulators in India to get a lot more educated, or get a lot of experts within their systems, because they are trying to take the idea that not people many know all these things, and they are using this as an excuse. Just case in point, that they are saying that they do not perform any services in the Indian courts. They are giving examples like this, that they are only doing marketing and they have no control over content put on the on Twitter. Why cyber crime, etc., etc. All these things are happening, and a blind eye is given to them. But when it comes to their commercial interest, we know how fast these companies act, how tweets are taken down, how LinkedIn people are blocked suddenly. Because there is a commercial
Vishal, how the rating of TikTok improved overnight, right? That was very surprising, right? I mean, just imagine, like people complain and wait for weeks to hear back from Google, but TikTok rating got improved overnight, right? And they were all genuine user ratings.
Yeah.
But they all, I think there are two issues. One is this whole pricing issue, 30%, but that's not the main issue. For me, the main issue is consumer choice. You cannot have, even in telecom market, you see, we have 3 telcos now, or 4 telcos. We have BSNL also, but still all Indians are complaining we don't have choice. How can you have 95% to 99%, I think, going forward, given the way Android is going through one app store? I think that's just ridiculous. We just cannot let this situation of extreme monopoly over Indian app creators and app users prevail. That, I think, is a much bigger risk for us, and this monopolistic power will be abused in many, many ways.
And if you see the
Just in the early example.
Actually, Rajesh, your point is that www में ये problem नहीं था. Everybody.
Yeah, I have a choice of browser. I can download Chrome, I can download Safari, I'm using Apple laptop, which Vijay also likes, but I don't use Safari. I use Chrome, or my son has given me a Kosia, which is environment friendly browser. So I use that. That's the freedom of choice. That is what we don't have. That is what is being taken away.
No, look at the saying that.
I have another recommendation for you, that I think you need to also start making phones. I think the problem is, जब तक phones China से बन के यहाँ आ रहे हैं, उसके अंदर वो सब घुसा रहे हैं.
Vishal, the problem is not about that one company needs to do everything. We all as Indians need to build up technologies so that we are dependent on our India built technologies. We cannot have international technologies. जैसे राजेश बोल रहे हैं कि आपको ब्राउजर का चॉइस है, अभी आपको ऐप स्टोर का चॉइस ही नहीं है. 95% भारतीयों के लिए एक ही ऐप स्टोर है. अब आप सोचो 30% चार्ज हो गया, मुर्गा की सर्विस का 30% एक्स्ट्रा चार्ज हो गया. वो क्या करेंगे अपने बिजनेस मॉडल में? वो 30% एक्स्ट्रा चार्ज करेंगे. तो कॉमन कंज्यूमर, इंडिया के अंदर कॉमन कंज्यूमर का कॉस्ट 30% बढ़ेगा. हम जो समझ नहीं रहे हैं यहाँ पे, वो बात समझ नहीं रहे कि P&L में, बिजनेस मॉडल में, किसी कंपनी के पास, अगर कोई कंपनी इन्वेस्टर के पास आती है, इन्वेस्टर पूछते हैं अच्छा तुम्हारा लॉन्ग टर्म में क्या एबिटा परसेंटेज है? सर 25 से 27% मैं 3 साल में बना लूंगा. फिर बोलेंगे अच्छा पैसे कब बनाओगे? सर 25 से 27%. नहीं, ये तो आप 30% तो गूगल को दे रहे हो ना इसमें से, इसके आगे तो आपके पास तो नेगेटिव 5% में चल रहे होगे ना. That is where we have reached. The companies that we all entrepreneurs are building will be now victimized of a break even, which is many years ahead, and hopefully never can come, because the mathematics never gives us 30% payment distribution charges. जैसे आनंद ने बोला, आपका जो मॉल का रेंट है, आपका जो बिजली का घर में आ रहा है जो बिजली, अचानक से मिठाई वाला बोल रहा है भाई साहब ये 200 रुपए किलो की मिठाई अब 250 रुपए किलो हो गई है. क्यों भाई साहब, क्या हुआ? हमारे जो बिजली वाले हैं ना, वो 30 रुपए तो 60 रुपए तो बोले जाएंगे उसमें से, 200 रुपए में से तो क्या होगा? ये तो बिल्कुल ही फनी हो गया है कि जस्ट बिकॉज मैं तुम्हें डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूँ 30% लूंगा. मुर्गा, ये क्या करेंगे आप अपने पास? क्या आप अपनी सेवाओं की कॉस्ट बढ़ाएंगे? क्या करेंगे आप इसके सिचुएशन में?
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का नहीं है, ये गलत बोलते हैं. तो ये भी उन्होंने मिथ फैलाया है. Actually, we do advertising. सेपरेटली।
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन तो 20% एक्स्ट्रा लगता है, ये तो झूठ है, सबसे बड़ा झूठ है कि 30% में डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन दे रहे हैं, जबकि 30% में तो हमारी दुकान पे सामान रखा हुआ है। अब आप 20% दो इस बात का कि दुकान पे सामान लेने आए कोई।
20% तो खाली लगान है विजय, इसमें डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नहीं कर रहे हैं वो लोग। इफ दे वर डूइंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन वुड हैव बीन प्रोबब्ली स्टिल बी ओके। एक्चुअली विजय जो उनका जो मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट है उसमें ज्यादा बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, मैं सही बताता हूँ। मतलब मैं 13 साल से वीसी हूँ विजय, और कम से कम 125 कंपनियों में मैंने और मेरे पार्टनर से इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है, लेकिन हमने हमेशा देखा है कि जैसे ही किसी कंपनी में फंडिंग अनाउंस होती है, नाउ ऑफ कोर्स आई डोंट नो, आई वुड लाइक टू सी द एल्गोरिथम कि यार कल फंडिंग अनाउंस हुई, मैंने मेरा बजट इंक्रीज भी नहीं किया, ना किसी कॉम्पिटिटर ने बजट इंक्रीज किया। हम लोग फोन करते हैं कॉम्पिटिटर को कि भाई तुमने बजट बढ़ाया है क्या? किसी ने बजट नहीं बढ़ाया, लेकिन हमारा ऑटोमेटिकली कैक जो है डाउनलोड का वो 3x हो जाता है। Simply, I mean, just amazing, right? The point is, I probably would like to give the benefit of doubt to the monopolistic social media companies. If they publish the algorithm, you are charging me, I am spending my hard-earned equity onto your marketing. Publish your algorithm, I will accept it is true. Till you publish, I will make an allegation that you are simply reading my news of funding and you are increasing my CAC.
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया। ये बिल्कुल पैसा आते ही जैसे आ जाते हैं ना पैसा लेने वाले, अरे आपके घर में तो लड़का हुआ है, नॉट गुड, दिस इज नॉट गुड। आपके जो घर में काम करते हैं वो सब लोग कहते हैं कि आप हमें इनाम दीजिए, तो वो अच्छा भी लगता है, आपको अच्छा लगता है कि हम हैप्पीनेस है। यहाँ तो चोरी की तरह से लूटने की।
बॉम्बे के अंदर आई केम टू बॉम्बे इन द लेट 90s and it was just about to die, but I had this feeling when I landed, people said कि यार गाड़ी थोड़ा आराम से खरीदना, तू लोखंड वाला में रहता है वहां गाड़ी मत खरीद। मैंने बोला क्या होगा? बोले गाड़ी का 1 लाख रुपए एक्स्ट्रा लगेगा तेरा। तो ये इनका वो है कि भाई फंडिंग हो गई तो हमारा भी एक्स्ट्रा लगेगा।
So I think one other point, right, to add on this, that ये लोग जो data collect कर रहे हैं, the bottom line is that the data are not residing in servers of India.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is very sensitive data. For example, we are now working a lot on the health side. आपको पता नहीं इंडियंस का हेल्थ डेटा इंडिया के पास इतना नहीं है जितना गूगल के सर्वर पे है, फिटबिट के सर्वर पे है, और अभी चाइना भी जा रहा है, शाओमी ने भेजे हैं। एवरीबॉडी यूजिंग वन ऑफ दीज डिवाइसेस are sending all their data abroad, and this data, by the way, in the US there are laws like HIPAA which make use of this data extremely restrictive. But since this data comes from sources outside the US, these companies run all kind of algorithms on this because they are not covered under the US data law. So अगर आप US के कस्टमर हो, आपका डेटा अलग तरीके से यूज किया जाता है, and जैसे ही आप non-US customer हो, and the biggest source of non-US data is actually India. So what is happening is that our data is being used and more IP on top of that has been created without any commercial benefit coming to India or the people who actually provided them the data. So that's another big challenge which nobody is even talking about, but the data business which these guys are building on top of us is completely insane.
As Rajesh said, one company cannot control 95% of way of life in India, which is internet. And the thing is that today you do all the hard work, develop the app, spend crores of money promoting the app on Google Play Store, do so much of effort in getting the business, and Google simply enforcing use my billing payment. You cannot use any other billing service provider, pay 30%. They just started showing the signs of the monopoly. There are multiple issues, Vishal. One is about the billing, tomorrow that removing of the apps and the data related issues.
I just want to add to the data point. I think that's a very important point. And data, we know, is the new oil.
Yes.
Right? So this data can be misused in many, many different ways and create anti-competitive forces against the app providers itself. What stops Google from launching another health app tomorrow, right? And compete with Charles Health app.
And they have acquired Fitbit. That's one of the, by the way, in Europe, the whole deal has currently been stuck because the European antitrust authorities are looking at this link between Fitbit and Google. That's exactly what is happening. That's one of the reasons why the whole acquisition is still underway. So this connection of health data with these companies is going to be a huge challenge. And we are not even thinking about this. हम लोग तो अभी 30% में लगे हुए हैं, but actually 30% is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
The bigger iceberg is the data businesses which these guys are building on top.
Absolutely. I think that's another issue that should be brought out and should be now addressed by the regulators in the government of India. It's high time.
So
I think
Indian data
my
should
point
be
is
stored in
consumer
India and
needs
not
choice.
used for anything outside
Yeah.
of India without my approval. As simple as that.
And Indian app developers need access to data, right? And their data is being, Vishal's data is being used to create new AI algorithms, new ML is being trained on that. So I think that's one point. The other point is choice. And the last point in my mind is this 30% Bharat tax that has been levied by Google on us.
Lagan.
Lagan, yeah. So
Rajesh,
this is like very explosive situation.
Yeah, I think this is sort of, of course we need alternatives, but and this is not short term. I think we need a serious regulator independently, Rajesh, to look at the entire tech ecosystem in the country, because these companies are so smart that they will keep coming with these kind of things again and again, right? So we need a steady regulator. We also need a strong voice collectively of all the startups and app developers in the country to be alert against any such events which are cooking up, right? And we need to be alert against that. And this is sort of for the next 10 years, we need to be really vigilant till our ecosystem becomes strong and independent.
Are you suggesting it should be other than TARAI? It's right now not clear who's the regulator of our industry.
Exactly मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ. देखिए आप बैंक में देखिए तो RBI regulator है, अगर insurance में देखें तो IRDAI regulator है. Now if you tell IRDAI here, will you allow a foreign company to simply sell insurance to Indian citizens online, right? They will say absolutely not. Forget foreign citizen. You have to come here, form a partnership with an Indian well-known person, capitalize the company, and approve every policy. IRDAI says approve every policy that you're selling to the customer, which is what I'm saying is that you may need to go to that extent. It could be TRAI. They're welcome to do it if they're capable. Ideally, I prefer somebody who's sort of specializing in this, right? Because telecom and digital services actually have an overlap and a little bit of a conflict also, Rajesh, right?
That's right.
Because हमारे telecom provider भी digital.
There is a huge conflict. I think it should be a regulator on top, another regulator. That's my own view.
Probably.
TRAI is dominated by telecom players. They have their own agenda. And
Rajesh, the current IT Act is quite good. I think it needs to be a little bit more clarified. The IT Act has a lot of these things covered. Problem है कि कोई IT Act मानने को तैयार ही नहीं है. That is the bigger challenge. Regulator भी आप ले आओगे, वो बोलेंगे हम तो regulated है ही नहीं, वो तो
regulator डाल देना. नहीं, because क्या होता है कि every IT Act you can't go and through the criminal justice system, right? That is not possible. So if you have a problem with an insurance policy, you go to IRDAI. You don't go to the police, right? And that's what we need. We need a regulator where you go with the complaint and regulator automatically, preemptively will control.
But Amit, Anand, the challenge is कि ये लोग law मानने को तैयार ही नहीं है, तो आप regulator लाओ.
No. First thing the regulator has to do is कि they want a company to regulate. So they will have to make Google into an Indian company, Facebook into an Indian company. They will have to make, because how do you regulate otherwise?
I take Vishal's point. Vishal's point. First and foremost, government of India should encourage competition to App Store. I think what Vijay has done today is path breaking. And why Vijay alone? We can have one or two other guys also come with their own ecosystem. This is the choice consumer needs. Yeah. And then develop the whole ecosystem of developers, education of developers, new tools and utilities which are released to make launching of app easier, distribution multifaceted. I think the first thing government has to make sure that Google no ways penalizes steps like this or has the ability to take coercive steps. That has to be resisted first. And we have to make sure that few of these app stores flourish and are successful. That is our, I think, biggest calling at this point of time.
Yeah,
you were telling us.
While that definitely Paytm mini store app is very good, we need a full-fledged app store which is independent and very powerful. And the Google App Store also need to be regulated for various reasons. Because today they control the distribution. So we have a lot to be done in the long term. While Vijay has taken a great big step, but we definitely need to do a lot more. Yeah.
So Vijay, I have a question. So today, if there is an app binary on Paytm, why cannot it be installed on the phone? What has Google done to stop you from doing that?
Well, Google believes what you are distributing through your app must be aligned to what I want to be distributed through your app.
Okay.
And it also says that, I mean, I don't know, today bill payment, utility bill payment. Okay, I just want to show you guys this very interesting thing because some of you may not be knowing this, but I have to show you this policy so that you get to read something really cute. So they're saying, and what Google forces us to do, including NEF functionality, digital content of good. So all subscriptions, all cloud software services, and app functionality content, items, all this. And what you will not need to use is purchase of physical goods. So they are saying groceries, they have to specify groceries. नहीं तो हम आटा दाल चावल में से पैसा लेंगे कपड़े लेने के लिए, हाउसवेयर के लिए, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के लिए, obviously, and purchase of physical services. फिजिकल सर्विस का उनका मानना है कि अगर आप जिम मेंबरशिप लेंगे तो नहीं है, लेकिन आप हेल्थ रिमोट हेल्थ सर्विस लेंगे तो है. तो पैंडेमिक में इफ यू वांट टू ऑफर रिमोट डॉक्टर सपोर्ट, तब तो पैसा चार्ज करूंगा मैं, 30% मेरा हो गया. आप डॉक्टर से मिलने जा रहे हो तब नहीं करो, कोई बात नहीं. In fact, the funny thing is they had to say peer-to-peer payment all and bill payments. मतलब they had to write utility bill payment. मतलब utility का bill payment मैं चलो आप यूज मत करो, वो तो फिजिकल है. This is really crazy. This is so exorbitant that they had to specify that they will not take 30% from a utility bill. Imagine, and a peer-to-peer. When your ambitions are clear. So अंदर किसी ने पूछा होगा, तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर मैं बिजली का और पानी का बिल पे कर रहा हूँ तो यूटिलिटी बिल बन जाएगा, और केबल का बिल पे कर रहा हूँ तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, केबल कंपनी तो हमें बहुत ज्यादा पैसा देती है, टेलीकॉम सर्विस तो हमारा सबसे ज्यादा एडवर्टाइजिंग रेवेन्यू है, इसको छोड़ देते हैं. I mean, come on, this is amazing. The data subscription is a digital good, but उन्होंने कहा यूटिलिटी बिल. तो क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे? तो इसका मतलब है कि सारी बैंक, all bank, financial institution, whatever you give, my friend, it is explicitly stated that you will be charged 30% of the fee, and you will be forced to use this. Otherwise, they can ding your app or do anything. Okay, so bank, financial institution, you know this, but telecom operator, they're saying, okay, telecom operator, nahi. This is hilariously arbitrary to a level, and I'm calling it arbitrary. I don't know what word I should use. Arbitrary, to matlab a commercial organization. I don't know. I think the Google must have been going through the decisions of what to charge or not charge. Is an incredible discussion that if they have an inside view to that.
And Vijay, any tips on how do we get our fake apps down? हमारे पास 550 fake apps हैं जो डाउन नहीं हो रहे.
देखो भाई, गूगल भगवान की जय, आप जैसा वो भगवान अलाउ करेंगे वो हो जाएगा, जिसको अलाउ करें. अगर वो फेक ऐप से उनके ऐप स्टोर का ट्रैफिक बढ़ता है तो जय, अगर फेक ट्रैफिक से फेसबुक पे ट्रैफिक आता है तो जय. हमारा क्या होगा? हमारा तो भगवान रखवाला है. भगवान कौन है? शायद वही कैलिफोर्निया वाला है. हमारा भगवान क्या बोले भाई. So this is incredible, crazy. Murguval, you tell us, do you think that companies will increase the charges of their services based on if they were to implement this 30%? What's your point on that?
Vijay, today, most of the companies in India don't even have that kind of profit margin of 30%. Even the company like Atmanirbhar with the 20 years of hard work, we don't even enjoy that kind of profit margin. Imagine you have to pay 30% of money to the Google. How you can survive? When you come to this question of survival, what do you have to do? You have to end up in passing that, the charge to the end consumers. The point what you made, a professor teaching a student, if you had to pay 1,000 rupees, you had to pay 30% to Google, you had to increase by fees to another 30%. So finally, the end consumers who had to go to the brunt of the Google arbitrary billing charges. So it's not really very bad for companies, and some other company may not be able to survive. They go out of business. How can you pay 30% just simply being a distributor? You have to pay 30%, otherwise the app won't be allowed. You can't do anything. It's atrocious. While you're arbitrary, I call it atrocious. Atrocious is the core. It's more like someone controlling the Indian internet want to do anything to make more profit, which is like, and we spend crores of money on advertising. It's not that they don't make money.
Will they take 30% of Amazon Prime?
That's the point.
Yeah, they can do that.
Rajesh, now that you said it, legally, Netflix and Amazon Prime will and Hotstar and IPL. अगर आपको केबल टीवी के यहाँ से IPL आता है तो आप पैसा दे दो ऐप पे, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। लेकिन अगर आप ऐप पे आईपीएल देख रहे हो तो आपको 30% देना पड़ेगा। टेलीकॉम का सारा बिजनेस, हॉटस्टार स्टार का सारा बिजनेस मैथ, Amazon का सारा बिजनेस मैथ, स्ट्रीमिंग का रीसेट।
This differentiation of saying, you know, did you buy on the website, did you buy in app? The fact is ki, you know, this is completely artificial, right? It's the same service.
Yeah, it's the same service.
It's the same service.
It is that why you have to pay?
App wrapper. It's a website but uses an app wrapper. Usko kya hoga?
No, the thing is that why you have to pay? The question is that what you are providing for, you know, we have to pay 30% of revenue to Google. For what reasons? We do the hard work, we do everything. And, you know, we today pay 1.5% to the credit card or we use other payment service provider, and you got to pay 30%. And I don't know, it's, you know, how to, you know, kind of.
अब देखो UPI है, उसमें 0% है, हम 2% होता तो मान लेते।
नहीं राजेश, आपका UPI 0%, हमारा ऐप स्टोर 30%। नाउ टेल मी हु विल मेक मनी? हम जाके बोलते हैं, सरकार कहती है people should do digital payment, merchants should get 0% fee, and here it is somebody digitization tax of 30%.
I want to
my only point is that, you know, see, it is not about tax. So Google आपको पता है, वो बोलेगा अच्छा मैंने निकाल दिया, मैंने भी 5% कर दिया. The point is not that. The point is कि बोलते the genie has left the bottle now. We now need alternatives, and we want to make sure this is, because it should not happen that like जैसे उन्होंने announce कर दिया, we have delayed it. थोड़े दिन बाद बोल देंगे नहीं अच्छा हमने वो 30% को 5% कर दिया, अभी खुश हो जाओ. You know, that is not the solution here.
I want to make one point here. The point is, like, you know, we are saying that. Sorry, I forgot the thought. Yeah, the point is about this payment system. You know, we have to look at the fact that. Sorry, just sorry. Please don't mind. Vijay, take over. Sorry.
No. I was not taking it. I was just saying that we have a conversation going on, and obviously it is an engrossing conversation, and there is an audience who was asking questions. So I wanted our question answers to say public audience or press questions as they may be. So back to you, Anand. Anand, the point that we all are understanding is that single app store to distribute all binaries of all Indian developers. Totally not correct. Totally, absolutely not correct. Secondly, even if there is multiple app stores, the dominating app store cannot have such arbitrary policy. And third thing is, such arbitrary policies implementation is another arbitrary level. That how could you do that?
I got what I was saying. Sorry, now I got the thread. Vijay, this, you know, the government and the regulator has to lay down the grounds for fair play, right? I think the fact that UPI, the government, and some institutions whose wisdom now I don't trust, you know, who recommended the merchants should not pay anything and nobody should have any commission in UPI. You know, what has happened is, how will Indian developers and small developers do business on UPI? Because you are making it free. There is no money to be made by anybody. So what is the end result? Deep-pocketed people who have incumbent advantage of operating system or whatever, they have taken over the UPI system, right? That is the problem. And this is simply because somebody took a misguided decision, you know, of making UPI free. In fact, I actually doubt and question the whole wisdom ki who triggered this free UPI, right? Why do we need free UPI? People are happy to pay. Nobody has said that we don't want to pay. Customers have never demanded that we don't want to pay, right? And in the same system, we have zero UPI and we have 30% this coming, which basically means that something actually somewhere, something was rigged, right? Because anything which is zero and doesn't allow the small player to make a healthy living or an honest living will actually go to a monopoly. No, that's the whole point.
So Anand, अगर आप note करो, सो पेमेंट सिस्टम तो 0 है लेकिन प्ले स्टोर 30 है, तो नेट ये भी बहुत स्मार्ट देखा मैंने. गूगल पे ही है, गूगल पेमेंट स्टोर का, गूगल प्ले का पेमेंट सिस्टम गूगल पे ही है और उस पे 30% लगा दिया है. तो एक्चुअली अगर यूपीआई से भी पेमेंट कर रहे हो किसी ऐप के अंदर, तब भी 30% कोई बीच में ले जा रहा है. अभी थोड़े दिन पहले गवर्नमेंट की रेस्ट्रिक्शन आई थी कि कोई भी नहीं चार्ज करेगा, डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट मेथड. यहाँ पे तो गूगल बोलेगा हमारा प्ले ने नहीं चार्ज करा, सॉरी गूगल पे ने चार्ज नहीं करा, प्ले ने चार्ज करा. कौन?
आयरलैंड
एक ही कंपनी है उसकी. मेरी लेफ्ट पॉकेट ने चार्ज करा, राइट देखो लेफ्ट तो आपको लेके आया था प्यार से, राइट हैंड ने चाटा मारा है, मैंने चाटा थोड़े मारा है.
We haven't heard from the UPI people about this policy, right? About the Google 30% policy. That will be a good comment. I'm waiting to hear.
Yeah,
what
that is good. That is right. That is so right.
I think that's the point. Pay versus play.
Ask the people in the press here to go and question the people behind UPI to ask about what is their view here, right?
Yeah.
And why are they not against it?
Good point. Thank you.
Good point.
Thank
I
you.
think great point.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Murugavel, any other question, any other input that you want to go, or we would open the press after we have our conversation?
I think all the points have been covered, Vijay, and we need a strong independent app store, and Google should stop the practice of an announcement of 30% charge. I think that should be our first victory.
Thank you. Thank you. Dear Rajesh, your last closing comments?
No, I think this rocket launcher has to become stronger and stronger. I wish you good luck, and I know your team will work very hard, and will get the support of app makers. I see it as a big first step, and I think creating a competitive marketplace for app stores is the only way forward. Secondly, I think this pay versus play conflict has to be addressed at the highest level, not just UPI, but also I think at the highest level of policy maker. Google is a very strong force and has various means to, influence policy and decision making. I hope they don't get away with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Dear Vishal, you're the app developer who is learning the big daddy of technologies control on India and their rebuke of India's laws by officially saying you don't apply my law on your law does not apply on my.
Vijay, you remember, right? The British had imposed a tax on salt. Salt, जो इतनी basic चीज है, उस पे tax लगाया गया था, and that was the start of the historic Dandi Yatra. So I think what you're doing today with mini apps is that yatra.
We
are defying the tax. We are defying the salt tax, and we are all part of this Atmanirbhar movement, right? So this is not about the 30%. It is the whole East India structure which is trying to oppress us is what is happening here. So जो लोगों को लग रहा है ये mini app हो रहा है, ये क्या हो रहा है, ये mini app नहीं हो रहा है, ये defy हो रहा है कि यार एक जो गलत हो रही है चीज उसको बदलना है और एक step से ही होगा. We have to take step by step, and we are all in this together. So it is not your fight or my fight or Rajesh's fight or Murugavel's fight. It is our fight as Indians to have a free and fair digital country, if that is the vision. So I think this is a very, very important step, and kudos to you and more power to you. And जीत हमारी होगी, पूरी सारे फौजी आपके साथ हैं, digital फौजी.
Thank you so much. आनंद, आप इन्वेस्टर हैं, राजेश इन्वेस्टर हैं, आपने अपनी बात बोली, राजेश ने अपनी बात बोली. राजेश ने कहा कि एक गेट और एक किंगडम की एंट्री एक गेट से नहीं हो सकती इंडिया के डिजिटल इकोसिस्टम की. आपने कहा कि हम लोग अगर ऑयल इंपोर्ट करते थे, अगर हम टेक्नोलॉजी इंपोर्ट करते रहेंगे तो हम हमेशा दूसरे लोगों पे डिपेंडेंट रहेंगे. आपका क्या अंत लास्ट में कमेंट होगा इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, जब आप एक टेक्नोलॉजी के इन्वेस्टर हैं इस देश में, आप क्या चाहेंगे कि ऐप डेवलपर्स और टेक्नोलॉजी के जो यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं वो क्या करें और सरकार क्या करे?
I can tell you one thing. It's a proud day for me that an Indian company has dared to launch an app store. That itself is a big day. My company ShareChat, and they took on a big giant called TikTok, right? And these are the fights we need our founders to pick, right? For very long enough, our founders have said, "Here we will work around Google, we'll work around Facebook." We have to take them for granted. Now the time has come when our founders are saying, no, I will not work around Google. I will work against Google, and I work head to head with Google, right? Shoulder to shoulder. And that is a very proud day for us.
Absolutely brilliantly said, Anand. जिस दिन हमें पता चल जाएगा कि हम पे राज करने वाला हमसे बड़ा आदमी नहीं है, उस दिन हम उसको अपने बराबर करा लेंगे. जिस दिन हम ही किसी को शक्ति देते हैं और हम ही है शक्ति, और जब हम साथ होके आते हैं तो कोई ऐसी सरकार नहीं है, कोई ऐसा रूलर नहीं है, कोई ऐसा ब्रिटिशर नहीं है, कोई ऐसा गूगल नहीं है जो हमारे लॉ ऑफ द लैंड के साथ अलाइन नहीं होगा. थैंक यू सो मच आनंद. Thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you so much, Murugavel. Thank you so much, Vishal. You've been incredible. You are all an inspiration for all of us. not just at Paytm, but all startup ecosystem. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijay, for you leading the fight.
All
And
the best.
you have all the support. Let's together. Let's win in this battle.
Thank you, Murgul. Back to Shreyas, who's the host for today. So Shreyas, thank you so much. We loved it.
Thank you, Vijay, and thank you for the panelists. We do a lot of work, but listening to this panel talk and having an ulterior ambition, that makes us go back and work more and work really hard to make sure this happens. Thank you all for taking time. Thank you for everyone attending. Amazing comments in the sidebar. So much fun to read. I hope I am going to see a mini app from every one of you. Please subscribe to our social handles, and we'll keep giving you information. Looking forward to building an amazing ecosystem together. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. With this, we end our webcast today. Thank you, everyone, for logging in. And log into business.paytm.com, go to the contact us, and you will be able to register as a developer there. Developers.paytm.com actually redirects there. Go to the contact us. There is a drop down of mini app, so you can use this. Thank you so much again. Thank you, everyone, for logging in. Really appreciate it. We together can change the destiny of this country because it has come upon us. Thank you. Bye.